I am Dr. Nisha Jha. I am presenting for you the topic cortical areas of superior lateral surface of cerebral hemisphere or sulci and gyri on superior lateral surface of cerebral hemisphere. Brain is made up of 5 parts. The first part of the brain is cerebrum, which is the largest part of the brain. Second part is the midbrain. Third part is the pons. Fourth part is the medulla oblongata. The midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata combinedly called as brainstem, and the fifth part is the cerebellum. Cerebrum is made up of two cerebral hemisphere, right cerebral hemisphere and left cerebral hemisphere. Both the cerebral hemisphere, they are separated by median longitudinal sulcus. The right and left cerebral hemisphere, they are connected by the band of white fibers in the center, which is called as corpus callosum. Side of the body controlled by each cerebral hemisphere. The left cerebral hemisphere controls the right side of the body, and right cerebral hemisphere controls the left side of the body. That is, the cerebral hemisphere is always contralateral in control. It controls the opposite side of the body. Another thing I want to tell regarding the cerebral hemisphere, that is, there is always a cerebral dominance. The 85 to 90% of the population of world is having left cerebral hemisphere dominance, in which the left cerebral hemisphere is active, it is dominating compared to the right cerebral hemisphere, and this type of people, they are right-handed. 10 to 15% of the population of world in which there is a right cerebral hemisphere dominating, and such type of population are left-handed. The cerebral hemisphere is made up of peripheral gray matter and central white matter. The gray matter is consisting of neuron cells, and the white matter is made up of axons of these neuron cells. The gray matter is also called as cerebral cortex, and this cerebral cortex is undergoing various folds. These folds are called as gyrus, and the gap between these gyrus called as sulcus. This picture is showing the various sulcus and gyrus over the cerebral hemisphere. The gyrus are the elevation and sulcus are the depressions between the gyrus. Now, when we talk about many gyrus, it is called as gyri. And when we talk about many sulcus, it is called as sulci. The cerebral hemisphere is made up of three surfaces, three borders, four lobes and three poles. Let us talk about the surfaces of cerebral hemisphere. The first surface is a superior lateral surface. It is an outer convex large surface of cerebral hemisphere. The second surface of cerebral hemisphere is a medial surface. The medial surface is a flat surface. It is facing the medial surface of another cerebral hemisphere and separated from the another cerebral hemisphere by a fold of dura mater called as falx cerebri. The inferior surface is a third surface of cerebral hemisphere. This surface is resting on the base of the skull. This surface is dividing into two parts, anterior orbital part and posterior tentorial. Each cerebral hemisphere is made up of four lobes. Frontal lobe, which is the largest lobe. anterior-most lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, which is a posterior-most lobe. It is the smallest lobe out of four, and temporal lobe, which is a inferior lobe. The cerebral hemisphere is having three poles. The anterior end or anterior pole is also called as frontal pole. Posterior end or posterior pole is also called as occipital pole. Anterior inferior end or anterior inferior pole is also called as temporal pole. We have learned the cortical areas on superior lateral surface of cerebral cortex. Now let us learn motor and sensory region of cerebral cortex. First area we have learned, area 4, what you are seeing. That is a precentral gyrus, which is a primary motor area or primary motor cortex. It is controlling the movements on the opposite side of the body. Area 6, which is a motor association area. Integration of all the movements are occurring in this area. Area 8, including 6, both are called as frontal eye field, maintaining the conjugate movements of the eyes. 9, 10, 11 and 12 are called as prefrontal cortex, which are there for memory, behavior, attention, initiation. What we learned, Broca's speech area, which is only present in the dominating cerebral hemisphere 45 and 44 for production of speech. 41 and 42 in the temporal lobe, which are primary auditory area, helping in hearing. 22 just below the 41 and 42. This is a auditory association area. Appreciation of what is being heard, appreciation of language is done with this area. Then on the posterior side, they are present area 22 again. This is the Wernicke's language area. Comprehension of all spoken and written language is occurring in this area. 40 and 39 mainly helping in pronunciation, pitch of sound and phonology. Next we see postcentral gyrus in the parietal lobe having area 3, 1, 2. These are primary sensory area. Now appreciation of all exteroceptive sensations, touch, pain, temperature and proprioceptive sensations like sense of posture, muscle, pain, joint occurring in this area. Rest of the parietal lobe is having area 5 and 7, that is somesthetic sensory association area, where one can appreciate one can feel the object, one can identify the object by just feeling it, and they can also identify its texture, color, roughness, etc. etc. Now these areas, this area 5 and 7, they are very much active in the blind people. They can identify the objects only by feeling it. Now the last lobe, it is a occipital lobe where area 17, primary visual area for vision, appreciation of vision, not only appreciation of vision, but it is also helping in appreciation of color, shape, size of the object. 18 and 19, they are visual association area, integration of all the visual impulses occurring in this area. This is a picture of superior lateral surface of cerebral hemisphere showing all the cortical areas with their number, and even the important areas are being named here. This is a picture of primary motor area as well as sensory area. How the primary motor area, the body is represented. You can see the body is represented upside down. First, there is an area for tongue. Then comes the mouth, face, that is jaw, lips, face, eyes. then comes the fingers, then comes the hand, wrist, elbow, arm, shoulder, and you can see the area of the legs and toes are coming over the medial surface. The area for thumb and fingers are represented a large area and rest of the areas are small. The same thing is happening in the sensory area where the body is represented upside down. The area for mouth, tongue and hand is large and rest of the areas are small. The first picture in this slide is showing the functional areas of superior lateral surface of cerebral hemisphere, what we discussed before. The second picture is same as that of the first picture, and it is showing when the lesion occurs in each and every cortical areas, then what is happening. So let us learn one by one. If each and every area of the cerebral cortex superior lateral surface is getting lesioned or getting injured, then what is the outcome of? So let us learn one by one the cortical areas of frontal lobe. Number 1, precentral gyrus. It is a motor area 4. It controls the voluntary movements of opposite half of the body. If lesion, destructive lesions or injury occurs in the motor area, area 4, then it causes voluntary spastic paralysis, or you can say hemiplegia on the opposite side of the body. Even the irritation of same area causes Jacksonian fits or epilepsy. If precentral gyrus is damaged on the dominating cerebral hemisphere, then there will be voluntary spastic paralysis on opposite side with the aphasia, loss of speech. Premotor area, area 6, which is a posterior part of superior, middle and inferior frontal gyrus. This area is mainly there for integration of all the motor information for performance of action. Destruction of this area causes apraxia, means difficulty in performing skilled movement. Agraphia, disability, affects the writing. Next, prefrontal area, that is 9, 10, 11, 12, which is located in the anterior most part of the frontal lobe. It controls emotions, concentration, attention, initiative and judgment. Destruction of this area causes loss of orientation. Person may not know their location, time and identity. Frontal eye field, area 6 and 8, which is located on the posterior part of middle frontal gyrus. It controls horizontal conjugate movements of the eyes. Injury to this area causes loss of horizontal conjugate movement of the eyes, that is, motor coordination of eyes are. Again, the last area of the frontal lobe, Broca's speech area, area 45, 44, which is located in the lower part of the frontal lobe in the pars triangularis and pars opercularis on inferior frontal gyrus, which controls the articulated speech and language. Injury to Broca's area on dominating cerebrum causes expressive aphasia or Broca's aphasia, means there is a loss of ability to produce the language. Person could not able to speak. There will be hesitant and distorted speech, but comprehension will be good. Person can read, person can write, person can understand the language, but he could not able to produce the language. Next is cortical areas of temporal lobe. So let us have a quick look at the cortical areas of temporal lobe. what is their function, and their lesion causes with deformity. Primary auditory area or auditosensory area, what we learned 41 and 42, present in the superior temporal gyrus. Reception and perception of auditory impression, this is mainly there for hearing. Trauma to this area causes impaired hearing. Unilateral lesion causes slight diminution in and acuity of hearing in both the ears. Wernicke's language area 22, which is also located in the upper part of the temporal lobe, inferior part of the parietal lobule. Understanding the written and spoken language. This is a very important area to comprehend the language. Injury to this area may cause receptive aphasia, in which the person does not understand the spoken and written language. Even they use the long meaningless sentences while speaking. So understanding and speaking of language both are difficult. Next is cortical areas of parietal lobe. So what is their function and lesion causes with deformity? The first area is a primary somatosensory area, which is present in the postcentral gyrus area 312. This area is mainly there for perception of exteroceptive sensations like touch, pain, temperature, and proprioceptive impulses, that is awareness of position and movement of the body. The lesion of this area causes agnosia, that is inability to interpret the sensations. We are continuing with the cortical areas of parietal lobe. Somastatic association area, area 5 and 7, which is located in the superior parietal lobule. It is integrating the information from primary somatosensory area for understanding and identifying the object felt in the hand without the visual aid. Now, trauma to this area causes astereognosis, means person could not able to identify the object by feeling it. Now, next is the cortical areas of occipital lobe, their function and their lesions. Primary visual cortex, visuosensory area 17. Around the calcarine sulcus it is located. It is mainly functioning for reception and perception of visual impression of color, size, form, motion, illumination and transparency of object. The lesion of this area causes homonymous hemianopia, that is defective vision in right or left half of visual field of both the eyes. This is a picture of homonymous hemianopia, where half of the vision is not present and half of the vision is present. Next is visual association area, which is also called as visual psychic area 18 and 19, located in the occipital lobe, which is there for integration of visual impulses with the past memory and recognition of object scenes. Injury to this area causes visual agnosia, means inability to recognize object by shape, cannot copy the drawing, cannot transfer visual information into the words. Thank you everyone for listening my PowerPoint presentation, and I hope you have understood all the points. Thank you.